this is Catherine O'Connell and welcome to Lawyer on Air. If you are looking for inspirational stories about women in law, then this is the podcast for you. Join me and my lawyer ladies as we enjoy a glass of wine after a hard day at work and talk about the world of women in law. It's my passion to share stories of amazing legal ladies who are working as in-house legal counsel, who have law firm roles, who are leading on boards, and who are doing law differently. From time to time, I will also invite special guests on the show to share their insights on legal recruiting and tips for getting hired as a successful lawyer in Japan. I hope you will enjoy getting to know these amazing women who I am so proud to share a profession with. I'm glad you're here and I hope you enjoy the show. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Lawyer on Air podcast. In this episode, I share with you another diverse story of a woman lawyer working in Japan. I'm Catherine, the host of the show, and I'm a lawyer based in Tokyo for more than 20 years, and I love helping unlock the wisdom of the stories that women lawyers never tell. What I've learned in my career in law so far is many people set their sights on achieving a specific career position, but I believe this approach can be limiting. Instead of focusing solely on obtaining a particular title, it's more beneficial to concentrate on what you want to achieve. Your goals can often be reached through various roles, so rather than targeting a specific position, think about the impact you want to make and then identify the positions that will help you accomplish that. Those are the words of my guest today, Toshimi Itakura. Toshimi is the General Manager of the Legal Department at Sojitz Corporation. She graduated from Keio University and joined Sojitz in 2005. Sojitz is one of Japan's Sogo Shosha, a term that translates as a general trading company, covering various industries globally, including automotive, aerospace, transportation, infrastructure, energy, etc. She started her career at the Tokyo headquarters of Sojitz, and after a few years studied abroad at Duke University Law School in the United States for her LLM. She also worked in the legal department of Sojitz Corporation of America, and she qualified as an attorney at law admitted in New York. Toshimi has also spent her time in London for 2 to 3 years on secondment there, as well as working for another Sojitz subsidiary. In 2022, she was appointed General Manager of the Legal Department at Sojitz, and that's her current position, and she was the first woman to attain that position in her company. Apart from her work, Toshimi also enjoys life being an artist, and in the world of ballroom dancing, she loves doing that too, and playing the flute. You can check out Toshimi's full bio in the show notes. On this episode, Toshimi shares her tips on managing her calendar, and I share some with Toshimi as well. She also shares how she learnt so much as a section manager and how that has translated now into being a great department manager, focusing on happiness for her colleagues and acting through empathy to understand their situations and allow them to open up with their thoughts. And Toshimi also shares her 3 amazing tips for young people, her favorite saying, as well as some other fun facts. Let's get into it. Hello, Toshimi, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Catherine. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Great to have you here. And I have a question that I ask every single guest. If we were meeting up in person, where would we be? Do you have a favorite wine bar or restaurant that you love to go to? And what would be your choice of beverage off the menu?
Okay, so recently I found a good Italian-based Mediterranean cuisine restaurant at Omotesando. It's called Gentle Dining.
Gentle dining.
Gentle Dining.
Okay. What do you recommend to have to drink there and eat there?
Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of wine, but they had lots of non-alcohol cocktails and a nice tea. So I enjoy non-alcohol cocktail with my friend. and
Yeah.
also a good herbal tea after the dinner.
Oh, yeah, I go for the herbal tea after dinner as well. I don't drink coffee, and so actually non-alcoholic cocktails are a really trendy thing, aren't they? And
Mm.
it's good when they look really cute and you're getting the pleasure of looking at them but not actually getting the alcohol, which is a
Yeah,
great
and it
thing.
tastes quite similar. It's a
Yeah.
little bit different, but it has soda and it tastes similar. It looks pretty, like
Yeah.
with mint inside.
Yes.
Sometimes it's really good.
Oh, which one do you have with the mint? Sounds nice.
Yeah, like I forgot the name, but it was like a mint soda and lemon, like
Ooh.
type of non-alcohol cocktail, and it was really nice. And the place, it's quite nice. It's sort of in the residential area, and surrounding area is quite quiet. And it has a like a sort of pretty garden. It was up nice. I couldn't see the garden that well, but it's surrounded by green. So the place venue was quite nice.
Lovely. I love this question because, like you have this kind of local knowledge, and that's what comes out from these answers that people give because I wouldn't have thought about gentle dining or known where it was. So now that's really great information. Thank you so much. We'll put that into the show notes. Well, let's get into your background, career, and where you are now. And I wanted to ask you first up, if you think back when you were a child, or maybe when you were going into your younger adult years, can you remember around that time what you were thinking about, what you'd like to do in the future, or maybe there was some early curiosity that you had?
So actually, when I was in junior high school, I wanted to be a flautist. So I was practicing quite a lot every day to become a professional flautist.
Wow, my goodness. So you wanted to play the flute professionally?
Yes, yes.
I know you do that now too as your kind of hobby or your passion. Yeah?
I still do that sometimes, and I do that as a hobby now. But back in that time, I was like practicing for 5 hours a day.
That's a lot, and that's very much dedication for someone who wants to be a flautist. I'm
Yeah.
so interested. What else happened then after that? How did law come up for you?
So I was in the United States when I was doing my flute, and I sort of got my hand got injured. So I decided not to pursue that career and then
Oh,
went back to Japan.
I see.
Mm.
Interesting. It's almost like, did a hand injury almost come about to make you do the law thing that you are now doing so well? Or, you sort of wonder about that sometimes, why things happen in your life. But it brought you back to Japan, and what happened next?
So I wasn't interested in law. I was in high school when I came back to Japan, and I wanted to be a doctor at the
Oh,
time
doctor next. Okay.
because I liked science, technology, like a STEM subject,
Oh,
more
yeah.
than the like literacy or like a human or liberal arts project
Right.
subject.
Right. Okay. And then what happened?
And then I decided to change to law degree when I was the last year of high school. And then when I was going to shift toward the humanity and liberal arts subject, I heard from my friend that law is closest to STEM subject.
Ah,
So that's why I picked that law. So I didn't have
interesting.
a dream to become a lawyer at that time.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I think law
Yeah.
is like a logical subject. So you have
Yeah.
to think logically. So it's really close to mathematics or other science subject.
Right. Have you found that to be the case, that it is quite logical and close to those sort of STEM passions that you had earlier?
I feel so. It's not something what, like author thought in the other liberal like arts subject where I'm not really good at. But like law
Mm.
is structured in a logical way. So you just apply the fact to some acts or like some articles. So it's quite close in that way.
Yeah, that's interesting. No one's really so far compared the logical nature of law to STEM subjects. I like how you've brought that out. That's
Mhm.
really interesting. And then after you finished your university, which I believe was KO,
Mhm.
yeah, you started your professional career, I believe in 2005, joining Sojitz.
Mhm. Yes.
And that's where you've been for nearly 20 years, Toshimi.
Yes.
Wow. So that's so interesting. Why did you join in-house straight after university rather than take the law firm pathway?
Actually, I'm not qualified as a Japanese lawyer.
Yes.
So I was not a qualified lawyer when I graduated
Mm.
and joined Sojitz. So I don't think I had a chance to go into a law firm in Japan in that
Ah,
sense.
right. So it's practically speaking, that's how it happened. And how did you find Sojitsu? Why them? Why a trading company?
Well, at the time when I applied for Sojitz, actually I applied to a business department, not a legal department,
Oh, this
because
happens
at
quite a lot, doesn't it, in Japan, where you apply for one department and they slot you into somewhere else. Yeah.
yeah, so I didn't want to practice law at the time because I
Mm.
spent quite a lot of years trying to pass the Japanese bar, which I failed. So I have decided to pursue a different career when I was trying to look for a job at the time. So actually, I really like to communicate with people. So I try to find some work that I can communicate with many people. So I
Oh.
thought the
Mm.
business division is
Mm.
a right place for me to get a job.
So,
So I applied to, I don't remember exactly, but it was like energy division
oh, right.
in Sojitz Corporation where they wanted to have some people. So I applied to that position.
Wow, I don't think I've heard this before from you. It's interesting. And so what happened? Because it sounds like you were placed into the legal team rather than business team. Is that what happened?
Yes, so at my second interview, the human resource department members at Sojitz asked me whether I am interested in working in the legal department, even though I applied for the business division. They noticed that I have sort of passed the first exam for the Japanese bar, which was also quite difficult. So Japanese bar exam procedures has changed within these maybe 10 years or so. So before the current system started, we only had a one like huge bar exam, which passing rate was about 3%. So I was trying out for that one. So the first set of exam for that bar exam, the past bar exam, was also quite difficult. So the person in the human resource department at Sojitz at the time found out that I passed that first exam, thought that I would have legal knowledge, so they don't have to teach me from the very beginning. That's what
I
I think.
see. I see where they're coming. I see where they're coming from. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it is an absolutely difficult exam, and it's interesting that they found that out about you and you started then in the legal team. I guess you didn't really have any choice to say no, but maybe it felt good to have been told, we noticed you passed the exam, we know it's difficult. Maybe that reinforced for you that it was okay to join the legal team.
Well, it took me a while to decide because I was sort of sick of studying for the bar, and I spent 8 years of my life doing that, and I decided to
Right,
quit and then change my career to
right.
a different world. So it took me a while to decide whether I took take this like position or not. But the reason why I decided to take this position was not because of the law, but because of the atmosphere I felt when I did the interview with people in Sojitz Corporation.
Ooh,
I
that's,
really liked the
yeah.
atmosphere I felt in the legal department.
That is really,
Mm.
really good because we spend so much time, don't we, in the community of these people that we work with. And so liking them and liking that atmosphere is so critical. Again, this is something I think that's really unusual or unique that you've brought out, Toshimi, is that most people think about it's going to be great for my career or I
Mm.
really love law, but you're giving something that you felt, right? It's an emotion that
Mm.
you felt when you were in the interviews with them, and that helped you. That's really remarkable.
Yes, I feel that, since, as you just mentioned, since you spend, say, 7, 8 hours of your daily life in the company, I feel that it should be somewhere comfortable for you.
Exactly. I so agree with you. And so, what was it like those first years or the first couple of years? Did you have things that worked nicely for you that you loved, or maybe it was a little few challenges that came along your way as well? Can you tell us about that?
So at the very beginning, even though I was studying law for the bar exam, I haven't really had a chance to like practice law in any way. So everything was really new to me. So I have to learn a lot. And then there was a lot of meetings in the daytime at the time. So I only had my own time after say 6 p.m. or so to, like review contract or draft contract for my senior members to review. So it was sort of an intensive time for me, but at the same time, it was really, really interesting since maybe many of you may not know what Shosha is doing, but Shosha is like a global trading company where it sort of invests in many industrial areas. So you will be able to deal with lots of projects in different industry. And if the industry is different, projects are so different and you don't get bored.
Yeah, I can imagine. You predicted my
Mm.
next question or one of my
Ah,
future
sorry.
questions. Not at all. That's great. You're reading around the corner, and that's what you're meant to do. That, yeah, explaining what a shosha does. And I feel that's almost why you have been there for such a long time, is that, you can jump careers to different companies, but within a
Mm.
shosha, tell me if I'm wrong, you can have so many different experiences in different, as you said, projects, different
Mm-hmm.
teams, different parts of the industry. So it's almost like you're in a different company each time you're doing it because of the variety of work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
That's completely true. So one message that interviewer gave me when I was doing interview with the people at Sojitz legal department is that she was, I think at the time, her 15th year of working at Sojitz. And she told me at the interview that even though I have worked for 15 years in my company, I still face new challenges each day. So at the time, I didn't really understand what she really meant, even though I understood what she literally meant. But now I totally understand what she meant at the time because
Right.
I face new challenges every day, even though it's my 20th year with
Ah,
Sojitsu.
20 years. Congratulations. Oh my
Yeah, it's
goodness.
my 20th year
It's
this
amazing.
year.
When is your actual start? When's your actual start date or start month?
April?
Oh, so you're really into 20
It's my
now.
20th.
Yes.
Yes,
Yay,
yes.
congratulations. That's
Thank
that's
you.
really phenomenal. That's as long as I've spent in Japan. And if I think about that, that's a long time, Toshimi, and really just makes sense with all the things that you've done and where you've gone from. And we're going to get to those too, because after you joined, you had some early days, then you went and did an LLM in the United States. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And then what happened after that? Because I think you finally got yourself admitted to a bar.
Yes, so I think it was after my third year, and I think in my fourth year, I went to Duke Law School for my
Yes.
LLM degree. So I had opportunity to learn a common law subject, including contract. And after graduating from Duke Law School, I had opportunity to take New York bar exam, and fortunately, I passed the bar exam and became a New York qualified lawyer.
Yay. And you also worked in the legal department at Sojitz Corporation of America, right?
Yes, I had a like training term after I graduated from Duke University in our New York office.
Perfect. And how was the atmosphere there compared to Japan?
Well, it's really a small office. I think overseas branches are relatively small compared to headquarters. So we have a really close relationship within the members, which was really a good experience. And I had a really good senior legal department member who took care of me. So she sort of revised what I have done. So I learned quite a lot from her.
Yeah, we learn from those revisions that
Mm.
a native speaker of English too, right? And
Yeah,
also
yes.
a veteran lawyer can help us with. And I think part of that is also you learn that humility, don't you, of someone helping you with your work and understanding it, and that makes us grow.
Yes, and it was really a good experience. So she made a revision, and I did the comparison by myself and then tried to figure out what she has made and ask questions to myself why she has done that revision. And if I could not figure out the answer, I went back to her and asked the question.
Yeah, that's really great. What really stands out for you from your experience there? I know you're working with this person, but was there something that was really interesting for you while you were in America?
Well, actually, it's not those like revisions, which was interesting in a way, but it was a time where we have made a new code of conduct, so global code of conduct, and it was I think we are the one of the first like global company to have a like global code of conduct at the time. So we tried to have an English and Japanese version of that, and I worked that closely with my Japanese boss at the time.
Really big job and very interesting. And I think once we do from one language into another and help with the translation or making sure it's translating correctly or the right sentiment, it helps us to really understand and embrace the code as well. We really understand it internally and inside ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, it's very difficult. Japanese and English is quite different. So it's very difficult to translate in a good way. So you can do the direct translation always, but direct translation sometimes does not make sense.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear you say that because there's so many literal translations of codes of conduct and other documents that don't really work. So for you to sort of take the initiative and think about it, what you're trying to convey to the people who have to follow it makes much more sense.
Yes. And so this was the like huge task I was assigned by my Japanese boss, and we worked really closely together to complete the translation, which we have done. And that sort of made a good relationship with my boss at New York.
It's a great thing to accomplish too while you're on assignment overseas and to say, for your legacy, I created that. I'm really
Mm,
proud of it. That's
yeah.
brilliant. So you didn't only spend time in the United States, though, you also went to London for 2 to 3 years, which is why when I speak with you, I hear more of an English accent for you in your English than I do American accent. Tell us about that time in London. That's just such an exciting opportunity you were given.
So after I came back from the United States, after a couple of years, I got pregnant, and then during my parental leave, my husband was sent to London for his work. So I didn't want to stop my career. So I asked our human resource department for a position to work in London. And after negotiating for maybe 1 year, they have decided to send me to London while
Wow.
my husband is there. And I brought my 1 year old son with us
Oh, oh my goodness. How did you do that?
and put him into the local nursery.
Wow. You took your child with you, and also you didn't want to give up your career. So that's a massive thing. You could easily have said no. Why did you not say no? I'm good to stay here. Don't go. Let's just have a career here. What motivated you to keep going?
So I was quite bored actually when I was taking parental leave. So I didn't want to do that over.
Okay,
That's
that's a
my
very
first
honest answer.
incentive to ask for some position in London. So that's my first motivation, I guess. But
Right.
since it was a lengthy negotiation and then actually it was really, really a challenging time, I am not too sure whether I'm going to do the same thing if I go
Yeah, I
back
think
to the year I was negotiating with my human resource department.
right. Sometimes our older and wiser selves would say, "Oh, why did you do that?" But then look what happened. You know, you did do that. And you also had a secondment to a law firm while you were there too. So these opportunities come up, right?
Yeah, so if I look back,
Yeah.
it was a wonderful opportunity, and I learned so much from working at the law firm, which I haven't done before. I haven't done any private practice before, and this was an incredible opportunity and experience. So I'm glad that I have done that now, but it was really, really challenging.
I bet. And I mean, you're working as a New York qualified lawyer at, I think it
Hmm.
was Herbert Smith Freehills there.
Yes, yes.
Incredible. But see how it all works out, though, that you may not have qualified as a Japanese Bengoshi lawyer, but another qualification in a different jurisdiction has led you to be able to work in London. I bet you never thought about that when you were sitting in America doing your LLM and doing your
No,
bar,
no, no. This is something that just came out after my husband was decided to
right?
send to London. Yes.
And you said yes, because it's interesting. I'm writing a newsletter at the moment, Toshimi, and it has about the power of saying yes. Even if we don't know what's really going to happen, or we may not know all of the answers to saying yes, but we just say yes and work it out. I'm going to add you in to my newsletter and talk about you as well. Well, yeah, because this is great. I mean, saying yes and then working it out, and somehow it will work out. What can go wrong that's not going to be fixable, right? So you just work through
Mm.
it and look at the opportunities that came up. Amazing.
Yeah, so one thing I always tell myself when I have to choose something out of two, one, to take some action, two, not to take some action, then I always take the choice with taking some actions.
Interesting. I've heard that not taking action is action.
Yeah.
Right? So actually not taking action is a form of action. You just didn't do it. So you tend to go for the active part rather than not doing it.
Yes.
Oh wow.
I take like a proactive choice whenever I
Right?
can because I feel that if you regret something, it's better to regret doing something rather than not doing something.
Absolutely. Who wants to regret not doing? And you may as well, what can go wrong if you do it? And look
Mm.
what happened with you. I think it's incredible. You came back to Japan after your time in the UK and rejoined the team here, right, in Tokyo.
Yes.
And now I know you were placed as the first woman legal department general manager for your company, right? That's incredible. Tell me about that experience because I don't know that many people know the inside story of how that happened. Most people know that you got that and are just giving you accolades for it and totally well deserved. What happened that you were invited to be the first woman legal department general manager?
I don't know why this happened.
I think we can tell why, but yeah, tell me about what led up to that.
At the time, I wasn't really looking into this position. It came out of blue. So I was really surprised when I heard the news myself. So I wasn't really prepared already, but I was told that he would make me a general manager. So I said yes. because I think I should say yes.
Right. There wasn't a would you like to be, it was you are going to be made up as a general manager for this legal department.
So I enjoyed myself being a section manager immediately before becoming general manager. And the reason I really liked being a section manager is that I really liked to see my members growing and developing their skills and becoming happy. So one of the policy I had when I became a section manager is that be happy and passionate about working and then always be yourself. So that's my policy as section manager and also as the general manager. Like it's like a people policy that I have. And when I see members in my section becoming sort of happier and happier or like more motivated, I thought it would be good if I can make more people in that way. So when I was asked to become the general manager, if I have opportunity to do that, I thought it would be a part of my dream.
I love
That's
it.
why
And it,
I
yeah,
said yes to him.
yeah, wonderful. I mean, section manager is like kacho, right? And
Yes, it's
now where
kacho.
you are is bucho.
Yes.
Right. And it's interesting, right? Because you wanted to make people happy. And now, because you're a GM, the general manager, you can actually have ripples further out and make even more people, allow more people to feel happy.
That's what I thought.
That's cool. And I love that you've got a people policy because the people policy is to others, but also to you, right? It's inside of you, and to be yourself always is such an important thing. And people see that. They see you being genuine or not, right? And the impact that you can have. I'm sure it's been tough. You've got a big team, right? Lots of members. You don't have to tell me the numbers, but tell us about your role now. What is your daily life looking like? And have you got tips for managing? You had lots of meetings in the past. How do you manage your calendar so that you're not doing contract reviews and other things? I'm sure you're doing much more work than that after hours, right? Things must be a bit different for you, but how are you managing your time? I think that's really important for others who are listening to hear that.
Yeah, so I have so many meetings now, so it's quite difficult to manage time. And to be honest, I don't have an answer yet. I'm trying to find an answer. So I think if I am allowed, I wanted to ask you how you manage your time so that everybody
Oh,
can listen our conversation and
you,
figure out some
ooh,
solution.
ooh, reverse question. Oh my goodness. I just think I try and make as much space in my calendar as possible
Mm,
because
mm,
if I have something come up, then I know something else is going to come up after it.
mm.
Or there's something before that happens. For example, this morning, before we recorded, unscheduled things came up that were urgent and important. So I had to do them quickly. So I think making room in your calendar for the possible urgent and important things is really critical to have. So I try and do that. And then what's the other thing I do is that I can't do everything myself, Toshimi.
Oh, yeah,
So I
of
have
course.
to, I ask really important people who I trust to help me with my work. So I've got
Mm-hmm.
probably 3 or 4 people now in my team who are all part-timers. I do a contract kind of
Mm-mm.
situation with my work and they help me. So there's no way I could do all my work myself. So asking for help has also been a really important way to manage my calendar. Great question.
Oh, yeah. So I think I have some answers after I heard your solution. So one thing I do is that I put like open time slot in my
Ah,
schedule so that people in my department can come up to me and talk to me. I started this because one of the section manager told me that since you're fully booked all the time, there aren't any time for me to discuss the matter with you. So I decided to put open time slot where I sit on the desk. If nobody comes, I just do the work, but everybody is free to come to me to talk about anything. So
That's
I do
great.
that.
That
So
is
that's
so good.
one, maybe that might be a solution.
I think so. I think so. Often we have closing time on our calendar when you're not available. This is the flip side. Opening up, having an open door policy where you have a
Mm,
certain amount of time. Is it normally, say, 1 or 2 hours that you
it's
allocate?
1 hour.
Great. And how many times a week or a month would you do that?
I put 4 times a week. But sometimes, like people really need to put the meeting there. So I allow that, but I try not to put meetings in that slot.
That's super. Wow, look at that. We've got some tips there for everyone listening on how to manage some time and
Good
calendar.
conversation.
Really excellent. Well, I mean, tell me some learnings then from managing a big team. And I know you have a big team, but any tips you can have for how do you lead them? How do you make sure that they are feeling that happiness, that they feel like you are looking after them? There must be some things that have really seemed to work really well for you.
When I was a section manager, it was really easy because even though my section was large, say I had about 13 members in my section, but still 13 is quite manageable to lead their life and then talk to them about their career quite often and take care of their challenges. But now that I have about, I don't know, 80, it's very difficult to lead each individual life that closely. So I feel that the role of section managers are very important. So I try to do some training within the legal department as to how we manage people. So I studied that last year to sort of deliver the tips I was doing myself. It may not be a tip for all of the members, but I thought it may be useful for them to think about their management style. So I studied that to sort of enhance section managers' managing skills.
Oh, what kinds of things do you help them with or suggest? It'd be really great to hear 1, 2, or 3 things.
It's very important to understand the feeling or understand the other side's situation to start with. If you don't understand them, then they won't open up to you. So to create that kind of environment is the starting point for managing people. That's one thing. And then the next skills, which would be important, is to feed back at the right time. Feed good thing about the right time, feed bad thing back at the right time.
Yeah, that's a really important one. I think the second one, we can hold on to feedback for too long
Mhm.
and it's too late, right? If it's a great thing they've done, if it's a week later, it's almost a little stale, right? And it's not the same impact, I feel. And then the other information that you gave, right? If it's bad information or not so good, somewhere to
Mm.
improve, it can just fester and get worse.
But in order for the feedback to work good, you need empathy between the members. Otherwise, they don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's very important for them to understand. In order for them to understand, they have to face you from their heart. So it's very important to create that kind of environment at the beginning.
Right, and that's why points 1 and 2 you said understanding their feeling, their situation, having them be able to feel they can open up is important to the feedback. So they're both like yin and yang going together, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think there's one other thing that you were doing is this, tell me about it, Ichiban Boshi, the first star project that you seem to have initiated. How does
Uh,
this tie in here? Tell me how this all ties in.
and this is the initiative that I have done when I was a section manager. I think as you also see, there are so many talented young members who suffer to find their confidence in their work or in what they do. But I sort of believe that everybody is born with a talent, and it's just is that they don't realize what they are. So I was trying to help them realize what talents they have which I call ichibanboshi, is like first star. So what I have done at the section meeting is that I took about like 1.5 hours with the section members talking about good thing about other members. So we take turn, and then when it's the person A's turn, all other members tell something good about them. So he or she would realize the good points she or he hasn't realized. So we did that session and it turned out to be a really good one.
I bet, because this does not happen in Japan.
Is it so?
I think so. I don't think I hear people tell other people how great they are and what it is about them that's really interesting and important and useful and what is good about them, because it's very, maybe it's culture in Japan that you just carry on, and if no news, it's good news. So reinforcing to others those great things about them and hearing them from other people in the team,
Yeah,
that
and then
must,
share
and
that good
sharing
point with
it,
other. Yeah.
it
So
must
everybody
just
realize.
it must be fostering so many rising stars now from your first star. Yeah, I love it. And I think that's a really great thing for people who are listening to take on board. Why don't we spend the time to sit down and others share things about, say, how Toshimi is or how Catherine is, or I love it. Is there anything else, Toshimi, that you wanted to talk about here that we might have missed about your work and about the importance of being a really great leader in such an organization?
So if I were allowed to say one last thing to all the listeners, I have 3 tips that I can give for aspiring professional looking to advance their career. One is that I want everybody to value and love their own life, because I think you can change profession and where you work within your long life, but if you don't value and love your own life, you won't be able to find a good solution for you. So whatever happens, I think it's very important to value and love your own life. If you don't love your own life, then I think nobody would do that for you. So that's one tip. And then the second one is close to the Ichibanboshi project, but please try to find your own talent. You would be able to find one. And if you find one, I hope that you can use that talent for others. Then I think others would use their talent for you. So that's my second tip. And then the third one, most importantly, don't give up on your dream. I have sort of a belief that if you don't give up your dream for 10 years, it will come true. I think for those of who think that their dream won't come true, I assume that they haven't tried it for 10 years.
Wow. Okay. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to
No.
I'm going to ask you what it is that you value about your life.
The thing I know what I need to do in my life is to leave something inspired or good within other people. In some way, I just wanted to have some good thing in others' life so that they can lead their life in a better way. And if I have some power to do that, I feel that's something a God is telling me to do so. I sort of encounter many times that when I talk with somebody or discuss with somebody, they became happier or they became more energetic. And somebody told me that I'm like an energy generator. If that's so, I thought I wanted to use that for more people.
Beautiful. Okay. I'm going to ask you, what is your talent then that you use for you? These are your tips. So I'm asking your tips back to you. You said to try and find your own talent and have people use it for themselves, right? Use it for you and use
Mm.
it for others. Tell me your talent then that you would put in here.
I think I have talent to be passionate about what I do and be happy about most of the thing I do, and also make effort toward what I do. And I feel that it's making my way through so far. And there's one saying that I really like is if there's a will, there's a way. And I truly believe that within myself.
I love it. That probably leads to the last one, which is your tip. Don't give up on your
Yeah.
dream,
Yeah.
right? And if you even wait for 10 years, that dream's going to come to you. And if it hasn't come to you yet, maybe you haven't tried. So, what's your dream? And has something come true after waiting for 10 years?
My dream is try to make environment organization where people can utilize their talent and motivated, passionate about working, regardless of their industry or regardless of their profession. I just wanted to create that kind of organization within the company. I am trying to do it in the legal department first, but I wanted to spread out that to other department if I can.
That's wonderful. Wow. Any thoughts on where you see your future going and where it might lead to?
I don't know. I don't know, but one thing is that, I think there are quite many people who sort of targets or have set their goal to a certain position, but I feel that it's not a good idea. You can achieve something through different positions. So just targeting a specific position would not do good for you.
Right. So, not about the position, it's about what you can achieve. And maybe the position ends up helping you do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Wow. Let's wind down then on a just slightly lighter note with the sort of maybe 4 or 5 other lighter questions. First one is, and you'll know this if you've listened to some other podcasts, perhaps, is that I'd like to know your favorite saying. Maybe you had where there's a will, there's a way. I love that. Is there another favorite saying or mantra that you have, maybe in English or Japanese, that you often refer to?
幸せは自分の心が決める.
Oh,
So that's the word by Aida Mitsuo, the famous poet. I like the word,
what does
that
it,
phrase.
what does it,
幸せは自分の心. So you decide your happiness. You decide your own
right,
happiness.
right. Is there a particular book or podcast even that's had an impact on you that you've read or listened to?
So there's a book that I recommend to a new managers. It's only in Japanese, I guess. But the book is called そうか、君は課長になったのか.
そうか、君は課長になったのか. I
So
see.
this is really, really heartwarming
yeah.
message to a new 課長, new section manager, where there's a lot of tip to be a good manager. So whenever you struggle something becoming a manager, maybe you should take a look at this book.
Fantastic. I've never heard about it. So it's sort of it translates kind of as, so you've become a section manager.
Yes. That's
I think
that's the right
yeah,
translation.
so you've become a section manager. Now what? Kind of like that
yes.
sentiment, isn't it? Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
Great. What a great Bible that must be. Looking forward to hearing who wrote that, and we'll pop that in the show notes for everybody. And Toshimi, you're a great person of influence, right? If you could inspire some movement, right? Some kind of movement that would bring a lot of good to a lot of people, what would that be?
If there's like a huge mentor-mentee platform, something where people can sort of ask some questions to their challenges, and if somebody can sort of lead the person to the right direction. I know it's very difficult because it's private, but if there's anything like that, that would be very helpful to all the people facing challenges. I think this is ideal and it won't happen, but
Oh, it could happen because, you never know what an idea can trigger. If you weren't doing law, what would you be doing?
I would be an artist,
Yay.
musical artist.
A musical artist. Wow. And tell me something about you that people don't know. Now, you've told us you play the flute. Is there anything else that you do that people may not know?
Well, I have told this to many people, but I dance, and then so I'm a big fan of dancing, and then I do radio taiso every morning. Maybe that's
Oh,
that's
radio taiso, the
it's like
exercise.
exercise, radio exercise. All the Japanese know what radio taiso is.
Oh, yes. Wow. Okay. So maybe your radio taiso is a bit more dance-like when you do it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, that's just so good, Toshimi. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of the chat for today, but I so appreciate you saying yes to coming on and sharing your amazing insights. Thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was really a fun time talking to you.
And for listeners who are interested in connecting and learning more from you, how can they get in touch with you or follow you online?
I think you can find me on LinkedIn.
Thanks so much. And for people who are listening, if you listen to this and you are inspired by what Toshimi shared with you, please tell us. We'd love to hear you by giving us a voice review, leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, and go ahead too and share this episode with someone you think would enjoy listening and needs to hear the tips that Toshimi shared. That's all today, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode. Cheers, kampai, and bye for now. Thank you so much for listening today to this episode of Lawyer on Air. I really hope that you were inspired by the story you heard and that you discovered something new about women in the law. Please subscribe to the show so that you don't miss future episodes. And if you can think of even just one person to share this episode with, that would make my day. I invite you to connect with me to talk more. Jump on over to LinkedIn or Instagram where you can find me, or send me a message via my website contact page. That's all from me today. I look forward to seeing you right here on the next episode of Lawyer on Air. Cheers, kampai, and bye for now.